What's up, Meta Nerds? We're continuing the Mobile Suit series with our first Zaku, the MS-05 Zaku I, looking at the early type first, and then we get some great scenes of it being used via Requiem for Vengeance. The Zaku I was the first ever nuclear-powered mobile suit to be combat-ready in the Universal Century timeline. It evolved from the MS-04 prototype Zaku and introduced several technologies that would later become standard for all mobile suits. Its power came from a thermonuclear reactor developed by the ZIS company, which provided effectively unlimited power supply. In space, the reactor was cooled by stored liquid hydrogen, while on Earth it used an air-cooled system. It also featured a mono-eye camera system mounted in its head, which worked alongside multiple cameras placed around its body. This setup gave the pilot excellent visibility from the enclosed cockpit. It also had laser sensors, infrared sensors, and a powerful computer to assist with operations. While standing at 17.5 meters or 57 feet, which is the same for other Zaku, and just half a meter shorter than the Gundam. One of the advantages of these humanoid mecha is that they can pick up and use different weapons just as easily as a soldier could, and it has a really impressive range to choose from. With its armament including the ZMP-47D 105mm machine gun, which was the first standard issue machine gun for Zaku models, featuring a 100-round drum magazine mounted vertically on the right side. The initial type bazooka was an early bazooka design that used block ammo cartridges and had a single exhaust port. The 280mm Zaku bazooka is categorized as a large caliber firearm primarily used for anti-ship combat and hit-and-run attacks. It could also be used against enemy mobile suits, though hitting fast-moving targets was a challenge. The Heat Hawk was a tomahawk-like melee weapon with a superheated blade that was hot enough to melt through mobile suits and warship armor. The shotgun we see it using is a pump action and similar to the one used by MS-18E Kampfer. And there is the double bazooka, which they just put two 280mm Zaku bazookas into a single, more powerful weapon. It was first developed in December UC-0074 under the designation YMS-05 as part of Zeon's Suit project. It competed against the EMS-04 Zaku for a production contract and Zeonic's YMS-05 I, leading to the adoption of Zeonic's first mass-produced mobile suit in July of UC-0075. The first production model, the A-Type, saw a limited run of 27 units, primarily used for pilot training and combat research under Colonel Kaisiliazabi's training mobile battalion. Future aces like the Black Tri-Stars also trained with these units, and after gathering combat data, the design was refined into the MS-05B Zaku I, which would enter mass production the next year in 0076. Production ended in 0077 as the MS-06 Zaku II replaced it. While no longer in large-scale production, the Zaku I remained available, often assigned to pilots who specifically requested one, or to new squadrons lacking the latest gear. Many were also given to Midnight Fenrir Corps teams. The Zaku I's success led the Zeon Navy to build Masai-class warships purposely designed to carry mobile suits into battle. But by the time the one-year war started, the Zaku I was already outdated, and mainly relegated to support roles such as supply and construction work. Despite this, some units did see action, especially during the 1 Week War, where they were used as colony gassers. As Zeon's forces weakened toward the end of the war, older Zaku I units were pressed back into frontline combat, and it is here that we see them deployed on Earth in Episode 6 of RFE. On March 1st, UC-0079, Zeon's Earth Attack Force launched its first landing operation, focusing on Central Asia and Eastern Europe. By March 4th, the 1st Terrestrial Mobile Division had taken control of Odessa, and the Resource Extraction Division of Zeon's Assault Mobile Force, led by Major Makuve, took charge of the area. Under Makuve's command, Odessa became a major mining hub for Zeon, a nation which had very limited resources. The extracted materials were shipped into space, and Makuve confidently claimed, quote, "Zeon can fight for another 10 years. On November 7th, the Earth Federation Forces, or EFF, launched Operation Odessa, turning the region into one of the fiercest battlegrounds of the one-year war. Where we pick up, we see a Zeon convoy moving through a war-torn area. This convoy consists of a PVN-44-1 Weasel, 2 Zeon Jeeps, 3 Z-Bus, and a Samson trailer carrying Araya's Zaku II. Ahead of them, a heavy lift vehicle, or HLV, launches from a river port, and as the convoy moves through a town, it suddenly comes under attack. A Federation M61A5 MBT opens fire, destroying the Weasel. The convoy is forced to change course as a second tank appears, and before it can fire, 2 Magella attack tanks come out. The convoy is hit again, another Federation tank fires at them, and things get worse when an RGM-79 GM, armed with a 180mm cannon, takes aim. Just before it fires, an MS-07B3 Goof Custom from the Midnight Squadron swoops in, disabling and destroying the GM. Another Goof follows, taking out 2 more Federation M61A5s. First Lieutenant Loft of the Midnighters orders the convoy to reroute to the HLVs at the port of Odessa, but Major Ronnet insists that they're supposed to head for the spaceport. The Midnighters tell him that the spaceport has already fallen. The EFF have overrun it, and its HLVs have either been grounded or destroyed. With no other choice, the convoy heads toward the port. Ronnet requests the Midnighters to escort the convoy, but they refuse. They need to hunt down enemy tanks to protect the HLVs from being targeted. At this moment, Aria volunteers to help defend the HLVs, and Ronnet questions her. Alfie reminds her about her son, urging her to reconsider. Oni objects, and Aria has sprained her wrist, has a head wound, and possibly a concussion. She thanks Oni for patching her up and thanks everyone else for saving her life. And she hands her watch to Alfie, asking him to give it to her son, and then boards the Samson to get into her Zaku. At the port of Odessa, 6 HLVs are on floating launch pads preparing for takeoff, and suddenly a battery of 12 assault gun tanks moves within range and begins bombarding the launch site. Aria, along with 4 Midnighters and Goofs, and a MS-05 Zaku I all rush into battle. They wipe out the gun tank battery and its supporting forces, securing a clear launch path. The Zeon troops quickly board HLV-8s preparing for evacuation, while Oni decides to stay behind and work for the UMRC. As HLV-7 clears the atmosphere, the Gundam appears. It fires its beam weapon, instantly killing Odessa of the Midnighters. By November 10th, Operation Odessa ends with a Federation victory. The surviving Zeon forces retreat into space or scatter to other locations on Earth, and with Odessa lost, the One-Year War's main battlefield shifts to space. And this battle was not the last we would see of the Zaku Is. Even decades later, some were still in use. By UC 0096, Zeon remnants continued deploying these old machines, proving that even an outdated mobile suit could still find place on the battlefield. Thanks for watching, please hit that like button, I really do need your help. Subscribe so you don't miss this series, and check out these other videos, I'm sure you'll like them. But most important of all, remember, if you ever think you're not creative, there's a guy who got a military contract by strapping 2 bazookas together.